Hey, so I just want to discuss a little bit about what a cash offer means, how it would work, and who it could work for. You are probably on here because you've heard me say, or you have heard that I buy houses cash, and I just want to explain how that would work a little bit. I hope you can hear me okay. It's like hot as can be outside, and so I have this little nifty microphone, and I hope that you can hear me okay because I do have the air on. Like, I turned it down a little bit, but it's like ungodly outside. So, well, it's 94 degrees out there. So anyway, hopefully you can hear me okay. And I'm going to share a little bit of my personal experience, and it's kind of getting pretty personal with me here, but I figured I would share it with you, and probably it can help somebody out there. So you've probably seen signs, not mine, I see signs all the time that say, I buy houses cash. I see them like at red lights and on corners and all over the place. Exit ramps, Home Depot. So sometimes people will advertise, I buy houses cash, and I've seen the signs too. I'm not a sign girl. I'm not one who puts signs out there. I really just sort of customize a solution for everybody. But one of the things that I do is I buy houses cash. And so what that means is I have a lot of partners that I work with, and that way I'm able to help so many people in different circumstances. So one of the ways that I help people is some people just have a need or just a want to not list their house. They want to sell their house cash. So what I do is once I connect with a home seller, we'll do a Zoom call or a phone call, and I'll get some more information about their situation and the house. And sometimes people are like, I just don't want to list it for whatever their reasons are. And so I'll make a cash offer to them. So what that means is I will go over to their house. We'll go through, we'll see. Sometimes the houses don't need repairs, and I'm going to explain a couple different scenarios to you. Sometimes the houses don't need repairs. Sometimes they need a full rehab. So one of the reasons that someone would sell their house cash is because the house is unmortgageable. And what that means is that a bank won't lend on it because it needs too many repairs. Maybe there's water leaking in, maybe it doesn't have windows, maybe it's boarded up. But I've also bought houses cash that don't have any of those problems and are in great condition. And I've also sold houses cash that don't have any of those problems. So I will explain that to you in a little bit, but typically what I do is I gather the information, then we meet at the house. We'll go through, if the house needs repairs, I'll do a repair estimate, which means I walk around, I determine the amount of repairs, and that helps me determine how much I can offer for the house. So a cash sale is the fastest and least complicated way that you can ever sell a house, because there is no mortgage company that's going to come in with an appraisal and need repairs to be done before they will agree to lend on the house, and somebody doesn't have to bank qualify financially or credit wise. So it's so much easier to sell a house cash. Also, you don't have to wait for the mortgage company's approval to be able to close on the house. So it's typically a very fast closing, as fast as 5 days in some circumstances. So there are people in all kinds of different situations. Typically when I'm buying cash, the house will need repairs. It doesn't always need repairs. Sometimes people just want out, and sometimes they just don't want the hassle of putting their house on the market. So I just want to go into a couple, twice I've sold my house to investors, to cash buyers. And I just want to explain a little bit about the situation that I was in and how it benefited me way more than anything else that I could have done. So in 2019, I lost my father, and he died of a heart attack. He was not in good health, but it was still very shocking and sudden and very upsetting to me. He lived out of state, and I lived in Orlando, Florida at the time. He lived in Atlanta. So we were driving back and forth to see each other. My father loves to drive, so he liked to come down to Orlando to see me. He also loved Orlando, so he was coming down to see me a couple times a year, and I hadn't been to his house in a couple years. Now, to preface this, my stepmother died. That was the love of his life 8 years prior, and my dad never really recovered from that. Like, it was just devastating to see someone live like this, and he just lost his love and just really his real passion for life. So the visits to Orlando to see me were really something that just kept him going. So I hadn't been to his house in quite a number of years, and when he died, I drove to Atlanta, and his attorney gave me the key to his house. And when I went over there, I was shocked. It was like, it was so upsetting to see how he had been living, because he had like he had been hoarding things and ordering things from Amazon that were never opened. He had a bunch of boxes from Amazon and just all of this stuff that he was just ordering, and just piled on top of all the counters, all the tables. Like, it was just so sad. And he had let the house become so dirty. I don't know, it must have been years that it had been cleaned, because it was just filthy. And not only that, but I realized that he had been living without air conditioning. Like, the house had central air, because it was a newer home. The house was only like 15 years old, but the central air conditioning had gone. So he was just living with fans and window air conditioners. So by the time I got there, not only was I like emotionally like devastated and just like so upset to not have my father and be in his house, but to see how he had been living was so horrible. Like, that was the worst part of it, because I didn't know that he was like that depressed there at home, and it was just a very hard time. So not only did I feel like I had the emotional wherewithal to get through this, but I was also out of state, and with the house not having air conditioning, like, if a house has central air conditioning but it's broken, it can't get bank financing. If it doesn't have central air conditioning, it can get bank financing. But if you have central AC installed and it's broken, then you can't get bank financing. So I knew that there was going to be an issue, one, with people going through this house in the condition that it was. Just, first of all, I didn't want anybody to, like, I didn't want to like expose him like that. And so I didn't want a bunch of people going through the house. I didn't want there to be a problem with the bank financing. I knew it had to be a cash sale. Now, thankfully, I am in the business, and I knew what to do, and I knew who to call, and I got a cash buyer to buy this house, because it was out of the area. It was just too overwhelming. Like, it was just too upsetting that I didn't want to deal with that. So they did give me enough money to pay off the remaining balance on the mortgage. So I was very happy with that, and glad that I had somebody. I'm glad that I had the knowledge, and hopefully this is helping someone that may be in a similar situation or have similar circumstances, to know that there are other solutions besides listing your house. When you feel like you don't have what it takes emotionally to sell a house, like in a typical way, a cash sale is the best way to go. And one more story that I have is another time in 2007, my long-term boyfriend committed suicide, and we had a couple rehab projects going, and they were done. But if you recall, 2007 was a really difficult market. Like, that was the beginning of the 2008 like downfall. So 2007, I lost him suddenly and tragically, and it was horrible. Like, I just felt so bad, and I wasn't able to like sell the houses retail. I just couldn't deal with like people going through and picking the houses apart and saying what they didn't like about it. And I just didn't really even care. Like, I just didn't want to be a part of the sale, and I just felt horrible. So I also sold my 2 houses. We had 6 houses altogether. 2 of them were in my name. So I sold those 2 houses to investors, and it was a cash sale, and it helped me so much, because I didn't even care. Like, I felt so horrible at the time that I just didn't want to worry about listing the house and staging it and making it look nice and negotiating. Like, I just didn't have the mental capacity to be able to get through that. So it's not always like those are my 2 examples of when I have sold to cash buyers. It's not always something that's so devastating. Like, sometimes people just don't want a house. It needs too many repairs. They're like, listen, I inherited this. I don't want it. I don't care about it. I'm not in the real estate business. I just want it out of my name. So sometimes the house is in good condition, and they don't really want to deal with, especially if like being out of state, they don't want to deal with managing a realtor and showings and all of that stuff. So sometimes cash offers are the best way that you can go. I offer multiple solutions to homeowners as far as cash offers, seller finance offers. I'm a licensed agent, and I do all this not only locally, but also nationwide. So I have a network of people that work with me, and I get phone calls and emails and text messages from people just like you every day that I can help. And it's one of my favorite parts of the business, is being able to get these phone calls and sort of customize a solution for everyone. So if you have a house to sell, if you were curious about what's this mean, like when I hear I buy houses cash, like what exactly happens? So long story short, the great thing about a cash offer is that you can close fast, you get cash, and it's the minimum amount of hassle. So if that is your thing, if that's what you're looking for, then a cash buyer is your best bet. That's what I do, and my contact information is below. So if you're interested in selling your house, give me a call. I'll customize the solution for you too, and I'm happy to answer any questions. So that's all for now. Thank you very much for being a part of my channel. Please like, subscribe, comment if you have any questions. It really helps my channel out a lot if you subscribe, like, or comment. So I'm trying to grow this channel so it can get out there to more people, and more people know that there are multiple solutions that you can do when you have a house for sale. So thanks so much for listening. Bye.